Deion Sanders expected to visit Browns training camp to watch Shedeur compete for roster spot. Deion Sanders paid a visit to see his son, Shiloh, out on the field for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Wednesday. It was the first time the Colorado Buffaloes coach was out in a non-formal public setting since dealing with an undisclosed health issue. Coach Prime lived up to one half of his word about visiting both of his sons before the start of the NFL preseason. Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns ran out onto the practice field in Berea, Ohio, to begin their official training camp on Wednesday. He's expected to be next up for a visit from dear old dad. While this is the off-season camp most has been waiting for, it doesn't appear the QB competition has begun in earnest. Day one of Browns training camp very closely resembled what viewers saw from rookie minicamp, voluntary minicamp, and mandatory OTAs. No pads, very little contact, almost exclusively drill work. This Browns training camp is not taking place at the Greenbrier in West Virginia for the first time since 2023. Coaches and front office personnel have commented on the need to get back a sense of urgency and build toughness. Beat reporters have confirmed that there was an intensity and focus that was missing from the Greenbrier camps. Great for building team camaraderie, but the team felt a return home was needed. Early returns from the veteran players are that there is a new focus and intensity that was missing last year. Wednesday's practice did not reveal much as it was a ramp-up practice. Just a shade over an hour. There were full team periods involving 3 of the 4 QBs. The QB reps went to Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders in that order. Flacco did not participate in the 7-on-7 periods. Stefanski reiterated that the reps will likely change as they progress forward. Stefanski also mentioned the staff will go in with plans for each week, but are ready to adjust that plan accordingly after each week. The only rookies that ran with the first team were defensive players Mason Graham and Carson Schwiesinger. There have been noticeable improvements made by Shedeur Sanders in the time off between minicamps and training camp. Those details were on display today, despite the ramp-up nature of day one. Those areas to work on, as highlighted by reporters Jason Lloyd and Zach Jackson, was Shedeur's processing speed, being more deliberate in the offense, working through progressions faster, and getting the ball out tighter than he had in minicamps. His movements are quicker and more deliberate. The ball is coming out tighter and with more velocity. Even Shedeur's pocket depth looks increasingly better than it did in the early stages. Shedeur will continue to be the biggest fan draw throughout training camp. However, fans should be advised not to expect depth chart movement until rather late in the process. Shedeur is, and has been working on getting sharper at certain procedural and pre-snap reads. Neither the fans nor the staff will really have a clean grasp on where he is until he faces another team. The evaluators need to see him master the procedural and playbook-related aspects first. Once he has that, Shedeur can lean on his talent, instincts, and football IQ. If Shedeur can show growth pre-snap, and put that together with his ball placement, throwing with anticipation, and the ball going where it is supposed to go, then we will begin to see depth chart movement. All things considered, the first training camp practice was as expected. Nothing intense, nothing that will change where guys were slotted yesterday. The QB evaluation process will likely continue clear into the preseason. The sound of cleats on damp grass mixed with the distant hum of reporters' chatter as the Cleveland Browns marched through another grueling training camp morning. Quarterbacks rotated through drills with clockwork precision. Joe Flacco reading the field like a sage, Kenny Pickett throwing bullets in red zone periods, and Shedeur Sanders, the rookie, quietly making his case with every snap, every perfectly placed ball. But this particular week in Berea carried a different kind of electricity. Word began to spread through the facility from trainers to equipment staff until it reached the players themselves. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, Hall of Famer, cultural icon, and Shedeur's father, was expected to visit camp. A legend on the sidelines. It wasn't just any guest appearance. Deion Sanders wasn't just another proud parent making a cameo. He was a symbol, a force, a man whose own career defined charisma and excellence. Players who grew up watching his highlight reels whispered among themselves, excited like kids. "You think he's really coming?" They say he might talk to the team after practice. The coaching staff didn't officially confirm it, but word leaked out to the media. By the next morning, Browns beat reporters were buzzing. Deion Sanders expected to attend Browns camp this week, per source. He wants to see Shedeur compete for roster spot. Shedeur's reality. For Shedeur, this wasn't about cameras or headlines. It was about validation. He'd been fighting for meaningful reps all camp, sandwiched between veterans and other rookies in a crowded depth chart. Every throw, every decision in the pocket felt like an audition. When he heard his father might be coming, he didn't react with wide-eyed excitement. He simply nodded, the corners of his mouth tugging into a determined smile. "He's not coming to watch me chill," Shedeur said quietly to a teammate after practice. "He's coming to watch me work." The days before, as the visit drew closer, the energy around Shedeur seemed to sharpen. He was the first on the field for drills, the last to leave. Between sessions, he sat alone on the sideline reviewing film on his tablet, earbuds in, blocking out the noise of reporters and fans calling his name. "Kid's locked in," Flacco observed, watching him from across the locker room. Pickett, tossing a towel over his shoulder, added, "If Coach Prime shows up, he's going to see what we see every day. Dude can sling it." The anticipation. Camp that morning was unusually crowded. Fans filled the bleachers, holding phones aloft, scanning the parking lot for any sign of a familiar wide-brimmed cowboy hat or gold chains. The Browns' social media team posted cryptic teasers, close UPS of cleats with the caption, "Special guest inbound." Shedeur jogged out for warm-ups, helmet tucked under his arm, hearing the murmurs. He didn't let them distract him. His mind was on the script of plays he'd been given. More reps than usual, a sign the coaching staff wanted to see what he could do. The arrival. A sudden ripple of excitement moved through the crowd as a black SUV pulled up near the gate. Security shifted. Phones went up. Then the door opened, and out stepped Deion Sanders, larger than life even in a simple white tee and sunglasses that reflected the summer sky. Players on the sideline straightened. Some whispered to each other. A few, trying to hide their smiles, nudged Shedeur. "That's your pops, man. He's here." Shedeur took a deep breath, tightening his chin strap. "All right then," he said softly. "Let's ball."